In this tutorial, I'm going to talk about how to complete the square, and the example is 3x squared plus 6x minus 9. The problem is this 3 before the x squared. To get rid of it, I multiply the entire equation by 1/3. So I take 1/3 times 3x squared, which gives me 1x squared, and I drop the 1 traditionally in algebra. 1/3 times 6x is equal to plus 2x. Finally, I have 1/3 times negative 9, which is negative 3, which gives me x squared plus 2x minus 3. I set this equation to 0, and the first thing I do is move this minus 3 or the negative 3 to the other side. I do that by adding 3 to both sides of the equation. Those two 3's cancel out, of course. So I have x squared plus 2x is equal to 3. My focus becomes the 2 in front of that x. So make a little square. That's not why it's called completing the square. It's just a little box. And I multiply 1/2 by 2, or 1/2 times 2, and this is equal to 1. Then I take the 1 and I square it, which is of course 1. And I take that 1 and I add it to both sides of the equation. So now I have x squared plus 2x plus 1 is equal to 4. I'm going to factor x squared plus 2x plus 1, which is x plus 1 times x plus 1, and this equals 4. I have x plus 1 squared is equal to 4. And that square, that 2 right there, the way I get that is each of these x plus 1's are raised to the first power. And when you multiply anything, you add the exponents. And that's how I get the 2, by the way. Now I take the square root of both sides of the equation. And the square root of 4. I think, yes. Now I have x plus 1 is equal to plus or minus 2. And the reason for that is negative 2 squared is 4 and positive 2 squared is 4. Now I have x plus 1 is equal to plus or minus negative 2. Now I have two equations. X plus 1 is equal to positive 2. And I also have x plus 1 is equal to negative 2. I'll solve these one at a time, and I'm solving for x. I subtract negative 1 from both sides of the equation, so I have x is equal to 1. Positive 2 minus 1 is 1. So my first solution is x is equal to 1. Now for the second equation, and I will subtract 1 from both sides of the equation again, which gives me x is equal to negative 3. Negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3. So my second solution is x is equal to negative 3. My first solution was x is equal to 1, remember? So when I graph this equation, x squared plus 2x minus 3, it crosses the x-axis when x is equal to negative 3 and when x is equal to 1. Remember, when you solve a quadratic equation, what you're doing is saying, where does this parabola cross the x-axis? If I graph the original equation, which is 3x squared plus 6x minus 9, it has the same solution. It crosses the x-axis at the same spot as x squared plus 2x minus 3. Questions or comments? Or requests, put them in the comments section below. I would encourage you to subscribe to this video or my videos. I'm always posting new stuff. And I have a playlist on completing the square, so if you want to learn what completing the square means or all the theory behind it, just click on playlist.